Nestled amongst the beautiful beaches and rocky coves of West Cork lies the town of Schull, which on a fine day shines like a jewel. Some of the country's most renowned musicians have made Schull their home, and central to this community is Fergus O'Farrell, founder of the influential group Interference, whose headquarters was once the old Winstanley shoe factory in Dublin. His studio still bears that name today. Despite being confined by muscular dystrophy to a wheelchair since his early 20s, he has continued to write and produce with astounding energy, leaving his mark on the international music scene.
I think you can actually see this place or hear it in the music that I do. You know, it's very evocative for writing. I don't play piano anymore now, but when I wrote on piano, you can imagine, you know, the wind is blowing and you're writing chords on the piano, and I think it comes out in the music, you know. When I first moved down here, I was kind of on my own, working away on the music, and yet there would have been local musicians, you know, doing sessions and whatever. But then slowly, you had these people like Colin and Camilla Ferncombe moving into it, and Colin was a very successful songwriter, and his wife is a trained opera singer and is an excellent singer. And then Maurice Roycroft and Mount Caesar, who, you know, did a lot of the music for the Jim Sheridan films, moved into Dirt, it's only 20 minutes away, and Andrew Philpott, who wrote and produced with Depeche Mode, moved into the town as well, and even Brian Ormond, Radiohead's tour manager, lives only over in Baltimore. But certainly in terms of people to collaborate with, for me, it was fabulous, and we wouldn't have gotten that new group Dogtail Soup together otherwise, because what we did was we'd be having sessions and singing around the kitchen table at 2 in the morning, and it was like, well, let's start gigging this.
Since childhood, music has been the core of Fergus's life.
I was always fascinated by my granny's piano. You know, as a kid, I used to love putting down the reverb pedal and just hitting the notes and letting them ring on. And I was just always very into sounds, and of course the old man loved sing songs, so we, you know, so I was playing trumpet from 9 years of age or whatever, and tin whistle, and then I went to boarding school where they had loads of pianos.
And it was here, at Clongowes Wood, that Fergus's condition began to affect his life.
The MD I've got is Emery Dreyfus. It's a very rare form of it, and it's fortunately very mild and very slow. So like I would have been running till my, like say, I don't know, 10 or 11, and I was cycling a bicycle till I was 15, walking till I was in my kind of early 20s. So it would have been a very gradual process, you know. In fact, my old man has footage of me playing GAA in the local club, and he'd be going, "Come on, you lazy so-and-so," you know, not realising at the time, you know, thinking I wasn't putting the effort into it. And then I can see it in the film. It's just not quite right the way the legs are moving, you know, when they're running. So that would have been when it was kind of first noticed, and then got diagnosed shortly after that. And as I said, then it's just a kind of a very slow and gradual losing of things, you know. Bye-bye, you know, bye-bye legs, bye-bye hands, bye-bye playing guitar, bye-bye playing piano. So it can be a bit of a pain at the time when you go through those transitions, but of course, as the granny says, you can do anything, even the fella hanging. And that's the great thing with music. You know, I can still sing, and even though I had to change the way I sang because the breathing became more difficult, it actually made me a better singer, oddly enough.
And it was this voice that began to attract some of Dublin's best-known artists, amongst them the Oscar-winning songwriter Glenn Hansard.
I think it was at the time when Interference started gigging in Dublin. We had a big lineup, and we were doing different. We were quite different to the other bands that were going on at the time. So particularly Glenn was, was kind of fascinated by what we were doing. We were never very marketable, you know, like we weren't, as Dave Fanning said, he couldn't pigeonhole us, you know what I mean? So, and record companies, they like you to be a defined product. And we were a bit, as you know, neither here nor there, neither fish nor fowl. Of course, then I was in a wheelchair as well, which isn't the most, attractive thing from a venture capitalist point of view, and a business as image-based as the music business. I heard it through other people who'd been talking to people, you know, that they wouldn't touch me with a barge pole because of the muscular dystrophy.
Despite the lack of support from the music industry, his peers knew better, and significant collaborations continued, including appearing and singing in the feature film Once.
He gave me a call one time and said, you know, Ferg, we're making this film. There's a very small budget, there was no money in it, but you know, it'll be a good, fun project to do. So, and I was thinking, like, well, sure, will I do it, or will I not? And sure, flip it. You're better off doing something than not. So I went and did it, and next thing the thing just took off. He invited me over to play Radio City and the Philadelphia shows, which were the last two shows of his tour. So I brought the band over, and we had great fun for the week hanging out in New York.
Touring for Fergus obviously brings its logistical problems, so much of his work is now done in a modern, high-tech home studio.
The first studio I had in Dublin was like half-inch tape, and there's no way I could be lifting on reels of tape on and off and that kind of thing, whereas now with your hard drives you can launch your programs, your Pro Tools or your Logic or whatever it is you're using, and you can work away in the kind of digital world.
For musicians who come to visit and work, there is the added bonus of the astounding cuisine provided by his wife Lee.
She's a great cook, great cook. And it's traditional Chinese home cooking, People love coming over for recording sessions because they get the energy from the food as well,
I'm from a baby 5-year-old. Mama teaching me, so I can cook anything you want. If you come 10 people, I make. I'm so happy, If come 20 people, I like chef. Big power. If people come, I want to do. Oh.
I couldn't begin to describe how important she is, and the odds of meeting her. I mean, I'm from Southwest Ireland. She's from Southwest China. If I hadn't gotten pneumonia and ended up in hospital in Cyprus, I'd never met her. As the MD goes on, you're getting more and more prone to pneumonia. So I was figuring, the album had been released and it hadn't done anything, and now I had pneumonia, and I'm going, that's it, this is the pits. And next thing, there's Lee, I think she sounded a bit quiet when she first came over, because she's from a big city, so she's a city girl, and of course in China there's people everywhere, so she'd be used to, just everything on the go all the time. But now she loves it, and she loves the weather. She loves the Irish weather, because she doesn't like the sun, she doesn't like too much sun. So she loves the fact that it's soft and misty and rainy and romantic. And of course she's a nurse, and she does acupuncture and massage, and acupressure and massage, so she's just been wonderful for me. And of course, I mean, in all fairness, I was very lonely. You can't beat having somebody to live your life with, really,
Walking on I was born with a silver spoon.